McLaren has taken a bold new path for the final 6 rounds of the season. The team is moving away from its Papaya Rules, the careful in-house guidelines that tried to keep things calm between the two drivers. Instead, the message is simple: fight for the title yourself. From now on, the pit wall will step back, and both drivers will be allowed to race flat out for the Drivers' Championship without the same level of team directions as before. This shift was first hinted at in Singapore. Formula One photographer Kim Illman spoke with several McLaren staff members during the weekend and shared what he heard soon after the race. According to Illman, people inside the team said that the drivers would be free to fight and that the Papaya rules were being parked. The team has already wrapped up the constructors' title, so they no longer need to split their focus. Their priority now is to let their 2 stars go for the championship as individuals. It's a major change because McLaren spent most of the year trying to manage both sides with strict fairness. In practice, that approach created tension and confusion, especially when split strategies or position swaps came into play. Piastri, who has led the standings for much of the season, has felt the most frustrated by how some calls played out. A number of decisions seemed to hurt his title chances, and that feeling has been building for weeks. With the team trophy secured, McLaren now feels free to stop refereeing every move and let the drivers sort it out on track. Mark Webber's role matters here too. Webber, who manages Piastri and knows title battles from his own Red Bull days, is not the type to tell his driver to sit back and play the loyal teammate when a championship is there to be won. Illman suggested that Webber will push Piastri to go all in during the final stretch and not to agree to compromises that cost points. The tone from Piastri's camp is clear: race hard, race fair, and make the most of every chance. There was also a wave of unfair media noise after Singapore. Some outlets claimed Piastri cut off CEO Zak Brown on the team radio when Brown tried to congratulate him after the race. That story was simply wrong. Piastri had already powered down parts of the car's systems by the time the radio message went out. A delay between the driver shutting off and the broadcast feed made it seem like he interrupted Brown, but he never heard the start of the message. Viewers at home heard only part of it due to the timing, which created a story that did not match reality. This is not the first time Piastri has been painted in a bad light compared with Norris. Despite leading the standings for most of the year, he often attracts harsher takes, while Norris gets warmer coverage. The radio snub narrative is just another example of this unbalanced treatment. In truth, it was a technical quirk, not rudeness or attitude. The team is well aware of what actually happened, and internally, there is no issue. Plenty of pundits have also questioned McLaren's soft-touch management style this season. Sky Sports' Ted Kravitz compared today's McLaren to the old Ron Dennis era. Back then, the rulebook between teammates was short: don't hit each other and bring both cars home. There were not long debates about swapping back places or building fairness into every call. Kravitz argued that today's friendlier, more careful McLaren created trouble by trying so hard to treat both drivers exactly the same at all times. Former Haas boss Guenther Steiner joined the discussion with a very blunt view. In his mind, a team must either let the drivers race freely or choose one to back when a title is on the line. He said that, given the points, the obvious pick would be Piastri because he has more on the board than Norris. If a team tries to keep both happy without a clear plan, you risk losing the championship entirely. Then you end up with 2 unhappy drivers and no trophy. Steiner also pointed out that Piastri earned his edge with stronger results over the first 2/3 of the season. In short, he put himself there, so give him the chance to finish the job. Team principal Andrea Stella has stood up for Piastri's right to speak openly when he disagrees. After the Singapore race, where radio messages showed Oscar questioning what happened in the fight with his teammate, Stella said this kind of honesty is exactly what McLaren asks of its drivers. They want clear, direct feedback in the heat of battle. Stella also laid out the team's view of the incident. Norris first touched Verstappen and was then pushed toward Piastri, so what felt like a squeeze from one side was actually a chain reaction. The lesson, he said, is that these events need to be reviewed from multiple angles before anyone draws firm conclusions. McLaren will sit down with both drivers to go through the Singapore moments in detail, just as they did after their clash in Canada. Stella said those post-Canada talks helped the team come back more united and better prepared. This time, they aim to do the same: review, learn, and improve the playbook for the final run-in. The goal is not to blame, but to refine how they operate when the pressure is high and both cars are near the front. The numbers explain why the team is changing course. There are still 199 points on the table across the last 6 events, including sprint weekends and bonus points. Piastri's lead over Norris sits at 22 points, which is useful but not safe at this stage. More worrying for McLaren, Max Verstappen is only 63 points behind Piastri. Red Bull has been creeping closer, and Singapore showed that if they get everything right, Verstappen can still beat both McLarens on merit. In a title fight this tight, any misstep can swing momentum fast. 2 sprint weekends are coming up in Austin and Brazil, and each one provides extra chances to score big or lose ground. Sprints bring more track time, more starts, and more risk. A bold move that pays off can change the picture in a single day. But a tangle between teammates can undo a whole weekend in seconds. That is the balance McLaren has to manage while stepping back from strict team orders. Letting Piastri and Norris fight has obvious dangers. We've already seen how small contact can turn into lost points and angry radios. But the old approach, trying to split things down the middle, wasn't working either. It often left both sides annoyed and opened the door for rivals to capitalise. The new plan will be stress tested right away at the United States Grand Prix in Austin, where both drivers will go in knowing there is no safety net of team-managed swaps. Both drivers have multi-year contracts and will be teammates for some time. That means they must keep a working relationship even while they go wheel to wheel for the biggest prize in the sport. How they handle these final 6 races will shape the tone inside the garage for years. Trust, respect, and clear rules of engagement will matter just as much as raw speed. For Piastri, the change offers freedom. He can chase his first world championship without looking over his shoulder for a call to move aside or hold position. He has led the table for most of the year and wants to finish the job on his own terms. For Norris, it's a chance to attack without being labelled disobedient. He has trimmed the gap in recent rounds and believes he can turn the tide if he strings together strong weekends. McLaren's hopes now rest on a narrow path. They need to allow a real fight while making sure both cars bank solid points every Sunday. They must keep Verstappen within reach and avoid self-inflicted wounds. Stella and his engineers will still set strategies and manage risk, but they will be slower to ask for swaps or impose team-friendly outcomes. The emphasis is on pure racing and personal execution. In the end, this is a gamble, but a calculated one. The team has listened to its drivers, looked at the standings, and accepted that the old method was causing more harm than good. If Piastri and Norris keep it clean and fast, McLaren could come out of this with the driver's crown to go with their constructors' title. If things boil over, they might hand the advantage to Red Bull. The final 6 races will decide whether freeing the fight was a masterstroke or a costly mistake. What is clear is that McLaren is done trying to micromanage every pass between teammates. They want the story of this season to be written on the circuit, not in the briefing room. Austin will give us the first real look at how this new stance plays out under pressure, with sprint points on offer and little room for error. From there, Brazil and the remaining rounds will test not only speed and strategy, but also discipline and trust. The stage is set. Now it's up to Piastri and Norris to make it count. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. See you in the next video.